Everyone, and welcome to today's ABCNS webinar. Today's topic is practical ways to protect your brands in China. We are pleased to welcome our presenter for today, Sarah Cheng and Mike Liu. Sarah is a well-respected writer, thought leader, and most sought-after China business expert in Australia. Sarah has over 20 years' experience in China and Australia, specialising in China business strategy development, intellectual property protection, distribution channel management, and merger and acquisition. As head of China practice of Australian Business Solutions Group, Sarah manages the China team in both Australia and China to assist Australian businesses to trade or invest in China. Mike has almost 10 years' experience in international business investment and assists clients with global trade and investment. Mike has helped numerous clients, from SMEs to multinationals, achieve their success in China by providing practical, innovative, and effective business solutions. This webinar is live and interactive. You're encouraged to participate by posting questions to the presenter, which can be typed into the chat box at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. All questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. If you experience any audio difficulty during the webinar, please dial the 1-800 support number listed in the chat box. I'll now hand over to Sarah to begin.
Thank you, Cassandra. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar today. Today we will have a quick look at intellectual property protection in China, and then our key focus will be practical ways to protect your brand in China. And then our trademark specialist, Mike, will also cover trademark registration procedures and master notes. So when we talk about intellectual property protection in China, probably we would talk about people usually think about trademark, but actually it's much more than trademark. What do you think?
I think we should cover more than trademark, including patent and copyright as well.
Definitely, it is more than trademark. But I think when companies go to China, most people will come across the brand name trademark issue. And then maybe for some service companies or company with high technology, patent might be something you need to consider. So our focus today will be trademark.
Okay, it's my great pleasure here to be here to share my insights about IP protection in China. So regarding the trademark registration in China, it is a structured and standard process. So by looking at the number of trademarks applications in China from 2000 up to 2016, as you can see in the screen, the numbers soared in the last 10 years. And I did a quick math on the numbers. So in 2016, almost 10,000 applications per day in each day in 2016. So to secure and increase the higher successful rate of your trademark application, you need to plan ahead and employ an appropriate strategy.
Okay, so today we will focus on the brand protection in China. Brand protection in China is more than just legal measures. Actually, a legal protection only helps when things really go wrong. It is very important to take proactive actions to minimize the IP infringement in commercial ways as well. So that is why when we talk about brand promotion, we need to consider commercial measures and legal ways to protect your IP. And the bottom line is at least you need to register your trademark, which is definitely a must. And it is also important to consider some other commercial ways to minimize the risk. So talking about proactive commercial ways to protect your IP in China, whether you are looking at to sell your products to China, offer your services to China, or outsource manufacturing to China, very important thing is to select a reputable Chinese partner. Because the people who will handle your IP will be the one that work on the market for you or work on the production for you. And in lots of cases, we see the IP infringement does not happen from external businesses beyond your key stakeholders in China. So the selection of a reputable Chinese partner is critical. The thing is how to select a reputable Chinese partner. How do you know they're reputable or not? A few things to on your watch list and to the list. First is to check this company's track record, whether they have conducted any fraudulence in IP infringement, which is available through Chinese government agency's website. And the second is to check whether the company has registered trademark. You talk to them, and then usually they will let you know whether they have patent or trademarks. And third, probably talk to people in this industry about the company's general reputation, and then but also conduct some general online research. Of course, there are much more comprehensive research beyond this, but these are some just easy steps for you to start with. We do conduct some companies' due diligence and background check to make sure those companies are reputable. But at least you can start with a few simple actions. And second is to bond your interest with Chinese partners. Usually when you work with them, you do have shared interests. The thing is the Chinese partners may perceive it in a way that they believe or they perceive they will get a better interest if they take your IP or they infringe your IP. For example, they make fake products under your brand when they are also making products legally under your brand for you. And they sell their fake products in China market or even to the global market. Or your distributors may outsource someone to do some fake products under your brand. So they're selling both real products, the genuine products under your brand, but also the fake products. It does happen in China. Then the thing is how to bond that interest closely. I think it's quite important to give reasonable profit margin, leave reasonable profit margin for your Chinese partners, and for them to work on the IP protection for you rather than take the risk to do the fake products. Next, it is very important is to promote your official distribution channels or stockists or partners in your official website, and let people and then attract Chinese buyers to your official distribution channels rather than go to fake products sellers. And also monitor the market from time to time. You may do mysterious shopping. You may do some random checking to those retailers who are beyond your official distribution channels and see if your products are sold in those channels that you're not aware of. Maybe conduct some online research to see the availability of your products and to see who are selling your products. Then you can have an idea whether the products actually are being sold beyond your official channels. And last but not least is to market the market about your brands and products. For example, you can do a short video about the real thing and fake thing. For example, the little difference on the labeling, the packaging, or maybe you have a little origin tracking label, and maybe the taste of flavor or quality. So tell the market what is a real thing, what's a fake thing. If the fake product is not made by your own manufacturer or your contracted manufacturer, and then it is very likely the fake products has something which is different from the real products. So you need to tell the market there are fake products and there are real products, and what is the difference, and where the real products are sold. And people do ask about the bonded interest. The bonded interest may be, for example, the joint ownership of intellectual property. For example, the joint ownership of your brand in China market only, or you actually advise your partner in China and then get them to undertake all the risk, but also share the profit with you together. They basically understand the cost of production, and anything beyond that, if there's a profit margin, you share with them, or maybe even invite Chinese distribution partners to invest in your company here, so they become part of the shareholder. Yeah. So basically, try to bond the interest more closely to give the Chinese partners the incentive to protect your intellectual property. So that was a quick summary of the commercial ways to protect your brand in China. But the bottom line is to register your trademark. That is a must do. That is actually, in a way, compulsory. Because if anything goes wrong, you don't have any really legal ways to protect yourself. So trademark registration is definitely a must. And so what can you trademark in China? You can trademark your brand name, you can trademark your business name, and you can trademark your product name. And the trademarks can come in 3 different formats. It may be in English text, or also in Chinese text, and then a logo. A logo may be a combination of a graph and text, but you definitely need to register your English text and Chinese text separately. The logo that combines a design and text is not a protection of the text. So, for example, with our program brand, Export Growth China, in China we register Export Growth China, this text as a brand, and then 澳大利亚甄选, which is the Chinese equivalent brand for brand name for Export Growth China. That is our Chinese text, which we registered in China. And then we have this logo, as you can see on the red top. That is a program that we run to assist companies to export to China. So we register that logo as well. So in your case, if you have, I'm pretty sure you have a logo and you have English name or English text. If you don't have a Chinese text or Chinese name, I highly recommend you have a Chinese brand name. End of the day, most Chinese consumers do not speak English. They do. It makes much easier for them to have a Chinese brand name. But when you promote it, you can promote both your English name and Chinese name and your logo. So now I would like to hand it over to Mike, our trademark specialist, to talk about trademark registration in China.
Thank you, Sarah. So speaking of trademark registration, trademark is divided into 2 categories, goods and services. So speaking of classification, NICE class 1 to 34 covers goods, and a NICE class 35 to 45 covers services. So once the product class is determined, the trademark name search is ready to go. And once the search result is optimistic, it is okay to start preparing file application directly to China Trademark Office. So some of you may ask, what is NICE class? That is the international classification system used to classify goods and service for the purpose of registration of marks. So the key difference of trademark system between Australia and China is that's what you can see in the screen. So in Australia, basically, whoever has used the brand first is granted the right and recognized by some common laws. So in other words, even you haven't registered your product with IP Australia, but you have used the brand in your region for many years, you are still sort of entitled to that brand. In China, it's normally it's the other way around. So whoever files the brand first is granted the right, and this is called first to file rule. There are 2 exceptions applied here. So one is for most well-known brands such as Nike. So, and the other one is against the bad faith rush registered trademarks. Those ones are normally done for blackmailing. So in terms of trademark registration procedure, the trademark registration process can be divided into 3 stages. So stage 1 is trademark name search. Stage 2 is trademark registration. And stage 3 is trademark status monitor. The trademark registration starts from trademark name search, and then prepare a trademark registration. After that, you need to employ a proper strategy to increase the successful rate of your trademark application. So as you saw previously in the early slides, so there are about 10,000 applications every day. So it is really important, and it is a must to find a right strategy to get your trademark registered in China. So once your trademark is submitted to, say, China Trademark Office, you still need to stay informed and respond to China Trademark Office properly in time. So I will explain the three major reasons why we perform the trademark name search. So point one is it actually saves your cost at the time to avoid unnecessary applications. And it also helps you to better understand the situation, to develop and adjust the strategy for finding an effective application to China Trademark Office with higher successful rate. So this is how a sample trademark search report looks like. So on the right-hand side, it clearly states how the search was done, and it also identifies the potential similar existing trademark, which could be an obstacle for the new application. So if you look at the bottom right, that's a potential existing trademark who can block your application because it has a logo, has a name, and also have the subclass which you might intend to register with. Validity, distinctiveness, and similarity are the three elements when China Trademark Officer evaluates a new trademark registration application. So validity refers to whether the consumer is able to identify the new trademark from the other existing trademarks. Distinctiveness refers to whether the new trademark is distinctive. And similarity refers to the new trademark must be different from the existing trademarks. That's why you come to the trademark registration. When the name search report is done, you need to find a proper strategy to make sure your trademark meets those three criteria before you finally submit the application. This will give you a much higher successful rate. So in terms of the application and the registration timeline, this timeline shows how long it takes to register a trademark in China and the details of each stage. So it actually takes about 3 months for the China Trademark Office to acknowledge the acceptance of the new trademark registration from the application date. The reason for that is because of too many applications happening every day in China. So it also takes another 9 months for the China Trademark Office to make a decision on application. So once the application passes the preliminary review, the trademark will be published by the China Trademark Office for objection for a 3-month period. So the new trademark will be granted if there's no objection within the 3 months. So once you have your trademark registered in China, it's valid for 10 years. And the owner needs to respond to China Trademark Office properly in time whenever there's objection. So for example, if someone is trying to get your trademark, they can make an objection to your trademark and provide sort of reasons attached to the objection. Normally, China Trademark Office will notify you either via email or mail or phone calls to let you know the situation, and you normally be given 1 month to respond to the objections. So if there's no response, in the worst scenario, the other person will get the trademark you already owned. So this is really important for you to monitor the status of your trademark. This slide gives you an idea about trademark persecution. So that's a common question we have been asked by our clients. How, like my trademark has been Russia registered in China, and how do I get it back? So there are three ways to get your trademark back. So opposition, invalidation, and non-use cancellation. So in normal practice, opposition is used to make objection to the trademark, which is still in the opposition period. After your trademark, after the other trademark is being granted, and if it's not up to 3 years here, you can use invalidation. And to raise the invalidation, the party who raises the invalidation has to prepare supporting documents, which is, of course, it's a way to verify and recognize you are the real owner of the trademark, and the other party has to respond when the China Trademark Office acknowledge a receipt of the invalidation. After the trademark been granted for 3 years, if other party wants to make an objection, they can make an objection with no-use cancellation. So the party who raises a no-use cancellation doesn't have to prepare the supporting documents, because basically it's claiming the existing trademark hasn't been used in the last 3 years. So it depends on the trademark owner to provide supporting documents. And this is really important to Australia business, especially after you've been dealing with China and you have your trademark registered, then you feel you are safe for 10 years. But actually, that's not the case, because there are a lot of things happening in China. And if you are really you're doing really good in the market, and people are trying to copy your products or make counterfeits, they will launch or they will raise such trademark objection to your trademark. So if you don't respond to China Trademark Office in time, there's a high chance you will lose your own trademark. So moving to FAQ, that's we have listed the 7 questions we normally been asked about our clients, and I will give you samples about for each question. So the first question is, if an applicant's brand has been used in South Australia for many years, will the trademark be certainly granted when the application is filed in China? Actually, China follows the first to file rule. So the first person who doesn't have to be the applicant in Australia files for the trademark generally becomes the owner if the application is successful. And so to secure your trademark in China, the earlier the better. So plan ahead and ensure you file your application with effective application strategy. That's the best way to protect your trademark in China. And the second question is Chinese trademark name essential? We recommended to do so, as it is easier to leave an unforgettable first impression to China and the consumers with Chinese trademark name. As you might be aware, more than 99% of Chinese, they don't speak English, and normally they don't read English. So even in English, your name is unique and carry whatever the meaning you're trying to convert to the end consumers. But in China, the Chinese text is more visible to the Chinese end consumers. So it is really important to give you a targeted Chinese end consumers a really impressive first impression, to remember your name, and of course to have a good impression about your product.
And also, actually, a Chinese brand name is compulsory. When you export food and beverage to China, you need to have a Chinese label. On the Chinese label, you need to have a brand name. If you don't have a brand name, usually your importer or distributor will just put their brand name in. So they're basically promoting their brand rather than yours. Or if you do have a Chinese brand name and you put it there, but it's not trademarked, and then so that will expose you to the highest risk possible. The second, you build your brand in China, before you do that in China, someone else may have already filed that trademark in China. Sorry.
And what is the difference between filing through WIPO and directly apply through China Trademark Office? So if you file a trademark application to China through WIPO, it takes about 12 or up to 18 months. So potentially you are facing a rush registered trademark for bad faith, and takes you longer and more cost to get that trademark back. So if you want to file directly to China Trademark Office, it only takes 6 to 9 months and protect your trademark since the application date. So in normal practice, we recommend you file application directly to China Trademark Office to avoid any future objection or any future debate on the trademark. And number 4, why trademark name availability search is critical. There are millions of trademarks in China. It is vital to identify the potential obstacle existing trademark and employ an appropriate strategy to increase the successful rate of trademark application. So with the trademark name availability search report, we can assess like how many similar or identical existing trademarks before you make the application. And those existing trademark might be legit. Like someone in China is already doing the similar business with you and using, coincidentally, they're using the similar name or exactly same name. So it is important for us to know before we file the application, so we can plan ahead and ensure when we file, at least we have something we can get around and secure our trademark. So how to deal with rush registered trademark for bad faith? Firstly, we needed to do a research on whether our trademark has been used by the owner of the trademark in China. Normally it happens when you have your product manufactured in China or your product being sold out in China through the Chinese community who live in Australia. They send the product back to China or sell back to China as a gift or as a product. So once this product or as a product, so once this product are on the market, is pretty much exposed to the potential risk. And the supporting documents we are asking for is how your product is being seen in Australia, and whether there is any supporting evidence or document showing your product is availed by the Chinese end consumers. Blog, WeChat, Weibo articles, those are all supporting documents for such objection to get the trademark back for bad faith. We could either file the objections, opposition, invalidation, non-use cancellation against them, or buy the trademark name back. I think that's a last choice. You have to negotiate with the trademark owner and buy them back. Can we expedite the trademark application process in China? Unfortunately, there's no express service for trademark application in China. So the trademark process time and associated costs are the same for everyone. And this is also a friendly reminder that you have to plan ahead and think ahead when you really starting doing business in China. So it's always good for you to protect your brand name, product name, and your business name first before you really selling out your product or physically to China and get exposure on China market straight away. Is a trademark application a one-off process? Actually, the trademark application and protection is a product lifetime matter. You need to employ appropriate strategy to obtain your trademark successfully in China, and the trademark is valid for 10 years in China. You need to stay informed and respond appropriately to China Trademark Office in time. So if any objection have been raised against your trademark during the 10 years, we have been seen as some case in the past. One of the Australian business that registered the trademark in China, but they lost the attorney's contact for a couple of years and another person registered a very similar trademark in China with exactly same name, but it's just a little bit different in logo. Unfortunately, when Australia business owner realized this, that's already 2 years later. So that the new trademark has been approved and granted in China. So it took us quite a lot of efforts and time to get the trademark back, and the process is still ongoing. Even we have provided heaps of supporting documents. So it's always better to stay informed and monitor your trademark status.
Okay, that's good. Actually, also I would like to add 2 points. One is you may be concerned it will take 9 months for you to get your trademark approved in China. That means if your trademark is available and it will be approved, you get protected 9 months later. Actually, it's not the case. You actually get protected the day when your trademark is filed with Chinese government, because China works on this who file first, who get it first. So the second you file this with Chinese government, anyone else who would like to file the trademark won't get the trademark. So in a way, you're protected. And the second is you may consider to enter or expand in China market, say under China market, say 3 years later, and then probably you're thinking whether I should do my trademark registration now or 3 years later. Actually, again, because China's first file first granted principle, we highly recommend you file your trademark now rather than 3 years later, even though you are considering entering China market 3 years later, just in case that you have built your brand here and someone else take your brand and register your brand in China before you do so. So thanks for Mike's very comprehensive explanation of the trademark registration process. And I would like to take this opportunity to do a little bit self-introduction. Australian Business Consulting and Solutions is a commercial division of New South Wales Business Chamber. For the global market, we trade as Australian Business Chamber. The chamber was established in 1826. Today, we have 23,000 members, over 800 staff in 60 offices across Australia. We also have offices in India, China, US, and UK. In the bilateral trade and investment space between Australia and China, we have been running in this space in the past 20 years, and we are the largest trade and consultancy in New South Wales, if not Australia-wide. And also, we are the strategic partner with Chinese government agencies, including Ministry of Commerce, Ofcom China, China Council for the Promotion of Intertrade. And next week, we are hosting World Chamber Congress, which is, at Congress, we're signing a partnership with our China Federation of Industry and Commerce. So CCPIT and ACFIC, the 2 largest industry bodies in China, now are both our strategic partners in China, which have us to open the door for our members and clients in China to millions of businesses in China. So we are really excited about that. We have a very capable team in Sydney and Shanghai, so I manage both teams. Trademark is key services that we offer, but also we do much more than this. We work with importers, exporters, investors, or any companies who are looking at to do business with China. And we help them with China strategy. We get the market intelligence. Most important is we actually help them to identify, qualify, and select business partners in China. It might be distributors, agents, suppliers, manufacturing partners, buyers, joint venture partners, merger acquisition target. So business partner search is another core services. Trademark and business partner search is the most important 2 things that we do on a daily basis. We also do lots of brand promotion. When a brand or a company go to China, it's like a small fish in a big sea, how you can probably easily get lost. But the endorsement from chamber and government are very critical. So that is why the chamber run Export Growth China program to promote Australian products and brands in China market, and especially provide this chamber endorsement and government endorsement through our partners, government partners in China. So this conclude our presentation. And then we would like to spend a bit time with you. If you have any question, please type your question on the left side on your screen. See if you can see the conversation section on your screen. So you can type your question, and we're happy to take your questions. Any question? And also we will upload this webinar today to YouTube next week. And then we will send you the link to the webinar today as well. And also you're welcome to contact me or Mike. Mike is our trademark guru. So please do feel free to contact us. If you have any question in regard to China market, or you are looking at to do business with China, and especially if you're looking at to filing your trademark in China. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah and Mike, for your presentation, and thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. Please stay logged in to take our online exit survey, which you'll be redirected to now. We thank you in advance for your feedback and wish you a pleasant afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.